Good afternoon. KT here on a Saturday afternoon, dialing in from my porch. Got a little bit of sunshine. I was inspired. Drop 5. Lantern mindfulness practice, comprised of 5 things. And I'm really realizing that the message should be do most of these things most days. It's hard to do all of them all the time. Trying to get back in the saddle. You saw in drop 4, I'm back in the saddle. And I'm realizing that there really needs to be a lot of grace around implementing these things. It's practice. And so there are 5 things. It's gratitude. Wake up with gratitude. Find gratitude for something's going right in your day. Grateful for sunshine and how it warms my body. Find something to be grateful for. I'll tell you what I'm grateful for here in a little bit. Meditation. That's the nut. I did a body scan that I'm going to post. That is something you can try for meditation. And it cut off at the end because it was over. So there will be an abrupt ending to it, but it's a body scan nonetheless. And I think I'm inspired to I'll do a meditation where, maybe it's a walking meditation. I'll do a meditation where maybe we'll listen to the Calm app and do one of their guided, something like that. So helping with meditation because that's the nut to crack. That's where the magic is. Journaling. I haven't been journaling lately, but I feel like there's a season for it. I'll probably do quite a bit of it here in the winter. Most of the time that I'm spending writing is creating kind of stuff for this. I'm like, really? Other stuff, like long-term strategy and stuff, right? This is ad hoc. Journaling. I'm going to give you some prompts on journaling today with an activity. Move around outside. Oh, nature's just magical. I'll tell you what, I live in a forest. Like, this is my backyard. This is off my back bedroom porch. It's magical. I ended up here. Yeah. After all that consternation, the first couple of drops, not knowing where I was going to live, I've had some surrendering I've had to do. I can talk a little bit about that too. And then we get into self-care. And so for self-care today, I'm inspired. Here we go. So drop 3, I asked you to write your story, right? So we should be kind of kicking things off with journaling and starting to realize good stuff. And so I asked that we write our story. Write our story as we tell it. Someone walks up to you in the street and says, I got 30 minutes. I'd like to hear your story. You're uninterrupted. You've got my undivided attention. How would you write it? Or how would you tell it? Then write it. And so today I'm sitting this morning in my contemplation, having my coffee, face to the sun, and I start to realize that based on the Write Your Own Story, the way that I have approached these different episodes in my life is I've turned them into cul-de-sacs. So like toddler, cul-de-sac. Elementary, cul-de-sac. High school, cul-de-sac, but maybe like a richer neighborhood for my high school because I had different versions that I was. Later in life, maybe your cul-de-sac is a little bit bigger and richer and has a few more offshoots. But I like the idea of a cul-de-sac because it's almost like an episode, a chapter. It has a beginning and an end. And so I look at my life in those episodes, those chapters, those cul-de-sacs. And then the other thing that I recorded a few different times. I think in drop 4, I said that I'd done some stuff and I felt like it was more aligned with ego. So I'm re-recording. In one of those, I recommended that we figure out a way to honor those versions of ourselves that endured what we endured, lived through, we're experiencing, we're blessed enough to have happened, however you want to phrase it, what happened during those episodes, those cul-de-sacs. What do those versions of us look like? Like, what was the school photo? Is there a Polaroid? Do you have something in your mind of what you look like during that cul-de-sac episode? So get a visual of yourself. Like I've got, just based on some photos, I've got a vision of myself like elementary, certainly toddler. It's not a very big cul-de-sac. Where's maybe horrible things happened in toddlers' ages for others, and that's the biggest cul-de-sac. It just, I think, is corresponding to kind of the density of challenges that you faced. And so get yourself a version of who you were. what you look like, because it'll be helpful. You know, as you're doing it was helpful to me. All of this is helpful to me. I am an expert only in my own experience. And so if this doesn't resonate and you're like, what the hell is she talking about? Then maybe you're prompted to go somewhere else, and I encourage you to do so. And I bid you well, Godspeed kind of stuff. If it doesn't resonate, then don't spend time here. But if it does, I'm really, really glad you're here. And so these cul-de-sacs and these versions of ourselves, I'm going to put a superhero costume on each one of them kids because they endured and survived. So they each get a superhero costume. And it can be in various states of disrepair, depending on the density. Right? And so you got these versions of you. They're in their little superhero costumes. Like mine's nothing fancy. It's like the Superman. S on the chest, cape. Give me them fancy red boots any day, all day. No heels, no kitten heels, none of that shit. Give me the ones that Superman was wearing. And that's kind of the version that each one of them have. And it's, it may vary based on, high school may look a little different than toddler. But for the most part, we got some uniforms on my kids. Because here's why. They overcame. They got through it somehow, some way. It may not have been pretty. It may not have been with the level of integrity we would have liked. It may be where a lot of shame is centered. But you're here because each one of them endured and prevailed. Okay? So we've got some accomplishments, right? So even if it is just that at the head of the cul-de-sac is, you lived through that. Good on you. Thank you so much. You're a hero in my book. Thank you for what you did. And start to get a representation. This has been helpful for me. Like I've got my high school kid, I got my college kid, young adult, like they each have, yeah. And oftentimes we sit on the porch. It used to be a train station. That's where I'd pick them up at. They had all that baggage. So we had to leave that baggage at the train station and walk away together hand in hand kind of stuff. Like these are some of the things that I was prompted through a clumsy way of interpreting what was happening, what I was hearing, what I was feeling. But these are the way that I move through these things. And so, again, my intent is to kind of help you organize yourself enough that your journey that is individualized and customized for you, pow, because that's how it works, starts to unfold for you and off you go, right? And you hang out here for the content because it's entertaining or it's enlightening, right? My intention is to document my experience in an effort to help you with yours, right? So the cul-de-sac thing is interesting because then, now that we've written our story and we've got kind of our episodes organized, and now maybe we think about a cul-de-sac approach, maybe we think about a, captain of the neighborhood in a little superhero outfit. Like that's your neighborhood. You conquered that neighborhood. I'm going to spend time with you cleaning up that neighborhood. That's how we're going to clear out some of the things that happened during those ages. And we're going to do it side by side. And I'll be back when I'm prompted. And you just kind of start to get a sense of where your densities are. But each one overcame and accomplished. And I think that for me was like, let's flip the script and make it positive. Like some nasty shit happened, without a doubt. And there is nasty shit that has happened far beyond what my scope of understanding is. I'm only an expert in my own experience. And for those that have had horrors, if this feels right, I'm glad you're here. I lack the experience to properly empathize with folks that have had extreme horror in their lives, not at the hands of those who were intended to care for them, and have even gone so far as to attempt to or consider ending their life. But I hope to soon have content that will appeal to those folks as well, because when it's time, I will be inspired with how to embark in those areas. But for now, I didn't have a pleasant childhood. It was emotional, it was psychological. It wasn't sexual and it wasn't physical. Okay. Each one of them accomplished, right? Each one of them prevailed and survived because you are here. You're undefeated thanks to them in large part, right? Each one of them played a role. So let's elevate them a little bit. We're real proud of them. They're real neat, what they did. And the fact that we can get a visual of them and it feels like the right visual, like you feel like they could actually stand in what you've got so that there's a connection that you can form. And then look for the accomplishments. Look for the things that make you proud. Okay, here's some self-care. We don't allow ourselves to feel proud of ourselves. We just don't. We just don't. You can look all around you for the evidence of that, all around you. But what if in your self-care journey you allow yourself to feel proud of what you've overcome and what you've accomplished? Because the things that you can call accomplishments were challenges that you overcame. You have a really good reason to be proud of yourself. If you're here, if you're on this if you're poking around and you're curious in this part of the world and in this part of the world, then good on you. You've accomplished a lot because you're curious and you're interested and you're willing to be a little bit vulnerable. To be here, you have to be a little vulnerable, right? And you've got to kind of start paying attention to what hits and what doesn't. Especially if you're here through drop 5. So I challenge you to kind of take a little bit of a walk, go where you're comfortable. You don't have to go through all the cul-de-sacs, but just kind of overview, Lord of your domain, right? Where have you been and what have you done? You've done a lot. And there's things you're not going to be proud of. And there's shame. There's stuff. Gunk. There's gunk in them neighborhoods. And you'll know when to clean them out and you'll know how to clean them out. The bottom line is that you're here at this point with this opportunity. You should be very proud of yourself. Very proud of yourself. And the fact that you possess the courage to even consider maybe continuing, maybe, right the fuck on, okay? Keep going, right? Like keep going at a pace that you're comfortable with. Just a little bit of, is it inertia? Inertia slows you down. Accelerant. And honestly, I seek to be an accelerant for you and your journey and your experience. I am on the other side of difficulties and I am really reaping the rewards of a lot of inner work. I'm getting a sense there's more. I'm here for it. I'm going to share it with you. I think it's going to be shadow work. I think that's probably going to be some stuff that comes out. I'm also picking up on some momentum with the things around this channel and the content. Yeah. So I'm in. It's scary. There's a lot of uncertainty. So maybe now's a good time to do some next steps for our lanterns so I don't get scared and overwhelmed when I think about, oh no, all the things that I must do. No, just what do I have to do? What's next? So, grab our lantern. Can you see your next steps? I can. I am actually meeting with an influencer that I met here in town who is, I really like her. And I get a sense that she's going to help me a lot. She's very experienced. And I get a sense it's time for me to kind of retool my content a little bit and change more to this 4 and 5 than 1 through 3. More about my experience and where I'm at and what's going on. Yeah, so I'm meeting with an influencer, I think, this week. And we're going to start putting, I'm hoping a strategy together. A social media strategy and a channel strategy. And keep the forward momentum going with this. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing is I think it's finally time for me to reach out to Keisha the Mystic. I've been following her for a long time, and she hits nail on head with her channeled messages for the collective. Whatever collective I'm in, she nails it. And it's time for me to reach out to her. And I don't know what that is supposed to be. Is it supposed to be opportunity for this channel? Or is it supposed to be maybe she is someone that I can lean into to help with the uncertainty? Because if she's channeling and nailing it for me without even knowing me, imagine what can happen when she finally gets a load of me. Wait till they get a load of me. Jack Nicholson, one of those Batmans. One of them Batmans. So those are my next steps. That's what I'm doing. So hopefully this shift in approach is resonating a bit more. It feels a lot more authentic to me. It doesn't feel like I'm ego. It feels like, yeah. Nice. Yay. My guides are applauding. So hopefully you are too. Hopefully it's hitting. All right. So keep on keeping on. Take your next steps. Don't worry about all that stuff out there. Focus on your inspired action. The 5 things. Do most of these most days. Gratitude, meditation, journaling, move around outside, self-care. Let's be proud of ourselves. Let's be proud of ourselves, darn it. I'm real proud of myself for making it here. I don't know what I'm doing, but boy, I'm sure proud I'm still here. Think of all the things that could have gone in a way that you wouldn't be here, but you're here. You should be really proud of yourself. So let yourself feel proud. Neat. All right, more to come. Peace out. Keep on keeping on. You're neat. Honestly, it's worth it. So much better.